Hey everybody, we just wrapped up talking on IG Live with Festool Shop Talk number 16 with Derek Forstier, with Derek from Malden. What a great character. He shared so much about his experience from Netflix to making signs to tinkering in the shop, and what a great episode. So make sure you stay tuned and keep your ears open. This is episode 16 of Festool Shop Talk, and you're looking at the man. It's Derek from Malden. His name is actually, hopefully I pronounce this, Derek Forstier.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take whatever.
Say your last name.
It's funny. So my grandfather changed it. It's actually Forestieri, but he dropped the E. But it's Forestier. I just say Forrester because I'm lazy. But my grandfather changed it. There's an IE at the end. So.
Gotcha. Is that French?
I'm Italian, but it's funny. Once he changed it to sound French. You know, I guess he didn't want to sound Italian back in the day. So he had changed it. But I've heard my life. Are you French? Yeah. I just tell everybody I'm French. So makes it easier.
Everybody looks at my last name and they say, Sedge, that's English. I go, yeah, kind of. And I go, are you all English? I went, no, man, I'm mostly French.
Yeah. I know I was able to figure that out, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So on your Instagram, it says home decor, homemade signs, furniture, original and unique gifts. Mm-hmm. So tell the audience exactly what you do, Derek.
I tell everybody the same thing. I do whatever somebody will pay me to do, honestly. I mean, I don't know. It's funny. People ask me that all the time. They're like, you a sign maker? And I'm like, I don't like to pigeonhole myself into one thing. I like to just make different things. So I'll make anything anybody asks me. It's mostly signs, it seems like, because, I mean, honestly, it's like the easy money. You know, I have the CNC, I have the laser. People like them. They want them. So I do a lot of signs, but I'll do anything. You know, I've made knives for people. I made a bunch of bird houses. I did a YouTube video that kind of went a little bit viral, and I've made probably about 10 to 12 bird houses, all pretty much the same type. But I'm up for like a challenge to make anything. You know, do a little bit of metal work, make small furniture, stuff like that, you know.
So how did you get started doing all of this?
I'm just always interested in it. Ever since I was a kid, I've always made stuff. You know, just growing up, we didn't have much. So my father didn't, make anything. He didn't know how to make anything. But I was just always real inquisitive kid. Always liked to see how things were made, how things were, built, put together. I used to take everything apart all the time. And when I was probably about 12 or 13 years old, I played sports growing up. I played hockey, and my father couldn't afford it anymore. And he said, I got a friend who's a contractor. If you want to work with him, he'll pay you so you can play hockey. Imagine doing that nowadays. You'd be arrested for child abuse, making your kid actually work to get something. But so I started working with this guy, and I loved it, and he was basically like a basic contractor doing kitchens. So I started working with this guy when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I'd work with him in the summers, the weekends, anytime, and I loved it. And I figured I was going to have a career as a carpenter, because I've been doing it since I was about 12 years old, but life is different sometimes, you get different paths we go, so.
Yeah, because I was looking at some of those signs, and how many of those you make a year?
I used to do a lot more of them. I tried to slow it down just because they're not as enjoyable, but I was doing probably at one time, I was probably doing about 10 to 15 a week. I was painting them all. Yeah, and I paint them all outside. And I'm in New England, so it's a pain in the neck. It's like, it's all weather depending. I don't have a spray room, and I was painting them all. And then I was sitting here one day, and I was thinking, what if I just carved out the sign and I poured epoxy in it, and I didn't have to paint it, and it worked, and it looked really good, and everybody loved it. And I was like, wow, this is so much easier than painting. I'm just going to fill them with epoxy. So I started doing that. That really took off. And but what happens is after I do something, I get bored with it. And I'm kind of like, I just want to move on to the next thing, And that's kind of where I was at with them. And I'm starting to do a little bit different with the epoxy signs. I'm kind of trying to mix paint and epoxy and different
Yeah.
materials and stuff like that. So it's that's kind of how that whole sign thing evolved. You know, I never made a sign, never had a CNC till a couple of years ago.
Huh. Hey, what were you doing with the router? Just a handheld router?
No, no. What happened was it was funny. I had done one like that, but I realized that it was no fun. You know, it's just too slow.
Yeah.
Too, you actually had to have some skill. You know, and
Yeah.
it was funny. I was at Make Central. I'm actually going there next week with Jimmy over in England, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, and Vectric, the CNC software company, they were there. And the guy, he doesn't work there anymore. He had told me, he goes, if you ever get a CNC, I'll get you some software for it, and you can learn how to do it. So Jimmy had like an X-Carve, and he had given it to me, and I just started messing with it. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I never thought in a million years I'd have a CNC. Now I have a 4x8 Avid in my basement. I have a laser and everything. But it was just like it kind of just took off. You know, I loved it. You know, it was so different than what I was normally doing, you know.
Yeah. So, kind of a personal question.
Yeah.
Do you sell more Bruins insignias and logos or more Red Sox?
Mostly Bruins. Bruins would have to be
Really?
the biggest. Yeah, Red Sox. That's a good question. Red Sox are up there too. It's funny. I just did a Bruins one that's sitting right here, and I finished this, and I sent a
Oh
picture of it to
man.
the guy, and he goes, "Hey, I love it. There's only one problem." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "I asked you to make me a Red Sox sign." I said, "You're kidding me." So I looked through the email, and the email I just read it real quick. It said, "You made me a Bruins sign for my father. I
Ah,
loved it so much. Could you make me a Red Sox one?" I had just seen Bruins make and sign, and I was off to the races. And but you know, a bunch of people had asked to buy it already, so I was like, "It'll get sold." So
that's so cool. Hey, from start, I love it from start to finish. How long does it take to do a sign like that with the
um,
CNC and then epoxy and stuff?
not as long as you'd think. People think they're really thick. What I do is just the edge here, like this yellow is almost
Yeah.
the thickness of the MDF. You can almost see the edge of it right there.
Ah,
The rest of
gotcha.
this is only a tiny, tiny coating. And then what I do is like I'll do the black first, okay? And then I
Gotcha.
can do the white and the yellow. So just a couple days it'll take, you know, and it's, you know, the CNC will carve it itself. And then just to fill it's about a half hour, you know. So it only takes a couple hours to do one. You know, it takes a couple days, but you know, actually working just a couple
Huh.
hours.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But it also I was looking on your IG account and seems like
Hmm.
you're doing a lot of custom for folks too, huh?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of baby stuff. A lot of people like the baby signs and stuff like that. Those are really nice. They're fun. You know, because people get really excited about it. You know, usually they're having a baby or they're giving it as a gift or something like that. So it's always nice, you know, to do those. You know, I like I said, I just like mixing it up, doing different stuff because it's you know, I'm doing one now, a really big one. A guy, his wife's big into Peloton. So I'm doing a
Yeah.
big like 36-inch sign and it's got the Peloton logo and it has her name on it and stuff like that. It has to be shipped to like Georgia. And last time I sent one there, they get a little bit heavy. So this one I'm making out of HDU. I'm going to paint it. It's going to look the same, but it'll be a lot lighter and it'll be better to ship and stuff like that, you know?
Huh.
So,
Have you ever
uh,
shipped one internationally?
um, no, furthest Washington State. And
That's not bad.
it's like $100 to do it. It seems like, you
Yeah.
know, because they get too big and then with the packing and everything like that. I had a guy, a friend of mine that lives in Scotland. He was visiting. He brought one home, but I didn't ship it over there.
That's cool as heck, dude.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
Thanks, thanks.
Yeah. You do a lot of Celtics ones too? See, I'm trying
Ah,
to do this New
yeah,
England theme, bro.
yeah. I know, I know. It's funny. Everybody always asks me too. The best part is I hate sports. I don't follow. And living in New England, people are always like, "What?" I don't follow any sports, and I was always ashamed to say that until I met Jimmy DeResta.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but seriously, well, you know, my main gig, I work with a bunch of guys, and that's all they talk is
Yeah.
sports. And it was just funny. I remember Jimmy talking in a podcast saying how he was so embarrassed as a man, to be like not involved in sports or like them. And I was like, wow, that's how I am. I don't follow sports at all. And everybody's like, you have to love the Patriots. I'm like, I don't follow the Patriots. I just don't have time for it either. You know, I have 4
Exactly.
kids and I was always busy. And then if I have free time, I want to be in my shop. I don't want to sit and watch a football game all day, you know? So,
Same. My buddy has a television in his shop. I go, "What's that for?" He goes, "Football." And I go, he goes, "You don't
yeah.
watch football at all?" And I go, "No. The only sport I follow, and I used to follow it religiously, was the Red Sox. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
but nowadays, is I just check it really quick online. I Every once in a while there'll be a game on, and I'll just start watching when I'm having a sip of beer somewhere. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I'd rather be in the shop, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
There's so many, like, that's like just a big New England thing, like following the Red Sox. Like my in-laws, it's like you don't call them during a Red Sox game. You know, they're just very
Yeah.
faithful, you know, watch them and love them. But I just don't have the time, you know.
I
I wish
hear
I
you.
had that much free time. So
I have no free time these days.
I
Hey,
know it's crazy.
you just mentioned Jimmy DeResta, and when I
Yeah.
met you at Workbench Gone, you said, "Hey, go watch that shot build with him and Patrick, the electrician."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was blown away at that shop, and that's where you
Yeah.
filmed that new Netflix
Yeah.
series, right? Having
Yeah.
fun,
Making fun. Yeah. Yeah. Making
making
fun.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. We filmed that
but you
there.
guys are having fun. It looks like
Oh
doing
yeah,
it, right?
yeah, yeah. That was a
Hey,
blast. That was unbelievable to do. To be part of that
hey,
was just unbelievable.
how, how did you meet Jimmy DeResta, and how did this all come about, this show? Because
It's so
when I met
it's
you,
so
I came
crazy.
back from Atlanta, and
Yeah,
it premiered, I think, a week
yeah,
later, and
yeah,
everybody in the office here was coming out and talking about what a
yeah,
great show. Their kids love making fun.
yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah, yeah. It's so crazy. It showed that this show and my relationship with Jimmy just shows you how just random life can be. You know, people have heard the story a million times. I've told it, but I was injured and I was out of work for over a year. I had a bad shoulder injury, a torn muscle, and they had to reattach it, and I couldn't do anything. And my son says to me on a whim, he's like, "Dad, you just seem so depressed. You should watch YouTube." I was like, I don't want to get involved with that stuff. He goes, no, there's people that make stuff. You could watch it, you know? And I started watching this one guy. It was actually Jimmy's assistant at the time. And I noticed in the shop, there was all this DeResta signage everywhere. And I was like, what is this guy like? Who's this DeResta guy? And I Googled him and it came up who he was. And it said he was doing this event in Boston. And I just sent a message to a number that was there. And it was Jimmy who replied back to me and said, hey, yeah, show up. I'll let you in. So I ended up going to this event, becoming friends with Jimmy just from talking with him. We ended up hanging out. And over the next couple of years, we became friends. And, you know, we're the same age, a lot of the same things in life, started traveling together, became friends. And he just opened up this world to me that I didn't know existed. You know, these people that make stuff and post about it and share about it online. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It like released all this. I had a lot of, you know, I used to make a lot of stuff. I kind of got out of it for a lot of years, and it kind of invited me back into it and kind of gave me these friends and people I could talk to with like-minded people, and it was amazing. And now fast forward, I end up meeting Graz, who's on the show, and Jackman. And Jackman at the time was like this small, like up and coming YouTube guy. And he was doing a celebration video at YouTube's headquarters in Manhattan. He invited me and Jimmy to film there. And we had showed up and we hung out for the day. And he built this big Adirondack chair. And it was fun. And that was the end of it. He took a picture of all of us sitting there. He posted that picture on Reddit. Some woman who was a TV producer in LA said, hey, what's the deal with this picture? And tell me more about it. And he told her, and she's like, I want to do a show about you guys. We thought it
Oh,
was like a joke. And, it, you know, went through director after director, you know, Discovery Channel. And then this guy, Mike O'Dea, who's just a brilliant, you know, showrunner. He's like, I want to change the idea to this. And we thought it was the dumbest thing going. And it was his kind of idea, the whole show. And we saw it. We're like, wow, like where did this come from? And it was just amazing. It was amazing to work with those guys. They're so talented. They're such good people. And it really opened up my eyes. Like, I think, you know, being a creative person, you're like, you know, this is being creative, making this. But being on this show, like, everybody on the show was creative. Like, the director's creative, the video people are creative. And it was funny to see how we're crazy about making something with our hands. They're crazy making something with a video camera. And it's just like a different, like, discipline, you know? And it was just very, it was amazing. I hope we get to do another season of it. And, but it was something that was just so special that, you know, even if it was a one and done, it will never be taken away from me, you know? And it's just really cool. And I look back at where I've come from to where I am today. It's just amazing. It blows me away. You know, I'm very grateful, very lucky.
You were telling me workbench card, hey, keep it this a little hush hush, but here's something I'm going to be working on. And I just filmed, and I was like, we're going to release it soon.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And then I'll say it again. I came back to the office. It got released, and everybody in the office was talking about it.
Yeah.
And it was really cool that you came up to the Build Better product release with us in Providence. That was wicked cool.
Yeah. I got my shirt. I got my shirt.
Okay.
Just totally random. Grabbed the top shirt out of the bureau, and that was it. It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
There's no setup in these shop talks.
No, I'm telling you. You know what's so funny is I put it back, and I said, no, I'm going to wear this thing. I said, I grabbed it. I'm putting it on, you know. I always have another shirt on top of it, but.
It was just so cool hanging out with you down
there.
Yeah,
thank you. No, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, even somebody like you, I mean, I don't want to embarrass you, but you're somebody I really looked up to. And I remember reaching out to you because I was having a problem polishing these signs. And you gave me some, you know, half-hearted response, ignored me. But anyways, I'm not going to hold that against you. No, you were very helpful. And, you know, sold me some Festool products, which is great. They'll be proud to know that. No, but when I finally met you, it was like, hey, I want to thank this guy. You know, not thinking in a million years you'd know who I was. And when you were like, I know who you are, I was just blown away because I'm just a, you know, regular guy. And it's just been so amazing, just like what the opportunities I've had over the last, you know, 5 or 6 years, you know, since becoming part of this community. It's really, you know, and Jimmy will tell you, I complain about it all the time. He's like, dude, you're so blessed. And I got to remember that because it really is. It's amazing, you know.
I feel the same way. I've been working at Festool for 15 years, and I'm just really blessed that I have this opportunity to work here.
Yeah,
I'm just a regular guy who just loves woodworking.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, nice.
So this is how I knew you when I saw you down there. I have a friend who I was on his Instagram account, and I said, "Who's this guy, Derek from Malden?" And it was Keith Johnson from KJ Sawdust. And I know he's your friend. How did you meet him, and how did this collaboration of Bent Lamination come about? Because I thought that was really cool.
So I met Keith. It was funny. I met Keith in an event in Ohio a couple of years ago, and it was I really, you know, he was kind of like a friend of mine's friend type deal, and we kind of just hit it off. And he has relatives up this way, so he would come up here and we'd be like, hey, why don't you come by and hang out, you know? And, you know, if somebody doesn't know Keith, they got to get to know Keith. He's just got to be one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Just a talented woodworker. And, you know, you know, I'm a nice guy, but I'm not stupid either. But I know just surround yourself with good people, and Keith's good people, you know. So I'm like, I got to latch on to this guy. But no, he is. He's so much fun to talk to. He's been busy the last couple of weeks. We haven't talked much, but we talk like literally almost every day. And he's just so much fun to talk to. He's a funny guy. Oh my God. And he's just so talented. But he was very gracious. He's friends with the local guy to me, Paul Jasper, and they were kind of thinking of doing this project with Total Boat, and they knew I was affiliated with Total Boat, and Total Boat's trying to, you know, up their game, going from, you know, everybody, you know, is getting river tabled out and, you know, the ocean scenes and stuff, and they want to showcase other uses for their epoxies, you know, and Bent Laminations is one of those things that's really great. And Keith was like, "Do you want to be a part of it?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" You know, there's no way I'm saying no to this. I felt so inadequate because him and Paul are just so up here, and I feel like I'm down here. But I'm like, I'm gonna hang out with these guys, you know, because I always feel like if you want to get better at something, you got to surround yourself with people that are better than you, and he's better than me.
And you find those people that they're great, but they're willing to give of themselves and teach you along the journey. You know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I was like really impressed.
So that's why we got together. Yeah, and it's been great. You know.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
No, he's so funny. So funny.
There's sometimes when I'm at an event with somebody and I know them, I consider them friends. Mm-hmm. And Keith and I, there were like 2 or 3 events where I said, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, it's so good to see you." And I didn't get a chance to shoot the the general BS with him.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, at the event we had in Providence, him and I sat down. We actually had a great conversation. And you're right. He's just the nicest guy on the planet. Yeah. You're okay, though.
Yeah. No, it's funny. When we were in Atlanta, I didn't even talk to him the whole time. But I think you feel like people like that who I talk to all the time anyways, I know I can talk to Keith. He's just a phone call away. So I'm not going to waste a trip to Atlanta to talk to Keith, you know. I got to move it up a little bit. But, no, he's a great guy. Great guy.
Okay, so I guess I got to ask a question. Festool. I know you own some Festool, right?
1 or 2 things. Yeah, I got
sir.
Yep, I got the complimentary Festool cups. I started off slow. But yeah.
Did I see you had a CXS? A little drill?
This guy right here?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
I keep it with me at all times.
Yeah.
It's so cute. So cute.
Yeah, that's a drill that kind of blows everybody away because it's so versatile and you get the right angle attachment with it and everything. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have
that was because of Keith right here? That was a Keith Johnson purchase. My wife bought me that for Christmas.
Way cool.
Yeah.
Way cool.
Yeah, Keith had recommended it,
So, do you have any other Festool?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I have a couple of Sanders. I have a Rotex 125, which I love.
Okay.
It's funny. I was thinking of getting the 90, and I think a lot of people shy away from it, but I was watching a couple videos about it actually last night because I do a lot of sanding and like weird things, and I didn't realize you could put the different attachments on it and stuff like that. And so I think that's going to be something I want to get, down the road. But I have a Domino, which I love. And, I tell people, and it's funny because I'm sure you hear it all the time, people, Festool. But unless you've used the stuff, it just works amazing, and it does. Like the Sanders, I think everybody needs to own the Sanders, But
you make me laugh. Dude, you just make me laugh.
Good, I'm glad.
I was like,
they're making you cry.
Oh, my God. You pulled out the cup, and I was just like, that's all he has?
That's all I can afford, the cup. I have the stack over there. I have the top block. All right, I don't want to be a show off there now, It doesn't look like your wall behind you, but I got a little something going on.
So you got involved with social media. I don't know if this is a bit personal question. Hey,
go ahead.
Do you get a lot of business from social media?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you said that because that's why I started it. Like I said, I have 4 children. Well, they're all grown now, but I have 4 kids. I was like, you're not doing social media. They didn't listen to me, but I kind of was just totally against it. But I was like, you know what? I need to get involved with it if I'm going to sell stuff. And so on Instagram, I have a nice following on my stories on the weekends, and I feel I have, I don't want to say thousands of friends, but hundreds of friends who reach out to me constantly, and I message them all back because it's I feel like if somebody's going to take time to message me, I'm going to message them back. But I have a relationship with a lot of these people. I've never even met them. I wouldn't even know who they are, but we talk regularly, and it's been great. On Facebook, I have not that great luck. And everybody I know that does a lot of signs and stuff like that, that's where they seem to shine. And I never understood that. I don't know if it's I don't get Facebook. I have so many problems with it. I just stay away from it. I just, I have enough going on with the Instagram, that I can kind of stay away from that. But yeah, I do pretty good with Instagram. I do enough to stay busy. Always wish I was a little bit more busy. People are always surprised to hear that, but I just like to have things going. A little bit of chaos is good for me,
Yep, same. I'm always doing something. I'm always building something. I'm always in my shop.
Yeah.
I really try to stay focused on what I'm building at the time. I don't like to have 2 or 3 projects going on at the same time. I need to get it done to have that focus.
I mean, I do have a few things just.
I've lost my audio.
Just.
Okay, I just got it back. Sorry, I lost my earpods.
You there? Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So so I have a couple things going just because I usually need a couple things going just because, things need to dry, things need to happen like that. But, it's, I like to just get things done and keep them going. They hang around too long, they get ruined and I get bored. So.
And I hate moving things around, I just like to have it a nice flow in and out to make it happen.
That's my life story because the shop's so small, just constantly moving stuff.
So I got a question. In the basement or in the garage?
Basement.
Way cool.
Yeah.
Way cool.
Yeah. People come down here and they're shocked. When they come down here, like, wow, you got a lot going on down here.
It's tight, huh?
Yeah, my CNC, I cut it in half and welded it in the basement back together. The frame.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The CNC itself came apart, but the frame, it was a steel frame. I cut it in half and then welded it back together once I got it in here.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a lot going on down here.
What laser engraving you got?
An Ohm Tech. I have an Ohm Tech. I have an 80-watt CO2 laser, a 50-watt fiber laser, and the 4x8 Avid CNC.
Wow.
Yeah. Man. So it's fun.
Hey,
I'm trying to get my what?
You ever get into 3D printing?
It's funny. I had 2 3D printers. I got rid of them. One I had an issue with. The other one I had an issue with, but it was self-induced. And I just don't have time for it. But I do want to get another one because there's a few things I want to do with it. One of the things I'm trying to borrow is a Wazer from Jimmy, the water jet. Yeah, that's one thing I really want to get my hands on. So you can, cut with, if anybody doesn't know, it has aggregate in the water. And you can cut glass, steel, aluminum, stuff like that. So it's really, really nice. Really nice.
Cool. The technology these days is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy.
So here's a question I wanted to ask you and call you on or message you on. Okay. I saw Mr. Tom Silva in your shop this past weekend and his daughter Kate. What the heck are they doing in your shop?
I have no idea. That's so funny. I got so many messages. People thought it was a fake picture, like a cardboard cutout. Nobody knew what was going on. So it's so funny because Kate, they live about 20 minutes from me. And Kate had reached out to me. And it's so funny. When she had reached out to me, she signed her email, Kate from the town she lived in, and I don't want to name it just because it's a business, but so I just thought it was kind of cute. And she's like, my dad just got a shaper and he's having some issues. Would you be willing to help me with it? So we're talking back and forth. I says, yeah, come on down. I'll help you. I'll show you what I know, and that's it. So I had bumped into Tom at Woodcraft and introduced myself, and we were talking. I says, oh, Kate said she was going to come by. And I mentioned the laser, and he said, oh, man, I'd love to see that thing. I says, come on by. You can see it, So when she was supposed to come down, she goes, my dad's around. Do you mind if he stops by? I was like, no. And, bring him on by, Tom Silva wants to come to your house. The kicker was I had to make this little ring box. I knew my daughter was getting engaged, and her boyfriend had reached out to me. They were flying in on Friday. And I kept putting it off, kept putting it off. Thursday night was the only night I had to work on it. And she says, we're going to be there Thursday. Is that work? I said, absolutely. I got nothing going on. My wife's like, you're crazy. What are you doing? You know, I says, hey, when Tom Silver comes by, you got to clear the schedule, you know? So he came by and he was so funny. Just such a good guy, just such a good guy, just interested in what I was doing, just made me feel so important, like just a regular guy, you know, actually like the shock of it wore off almost instantly. And he was just a regular guy, you know, which was nice, you know, and he, you know, she's coming by again. She was actually going to come by later today, but she got tied up with something. And she needed some help with just like designing some stuff. So, you know, with the software, but yeah, it was like, talk about unreal, like just, you know, never in a million years did I think Tom Silver would be in my basement. So.
He's just a wicked cool guy. I just love him to tears. I've had an opportunity to hang out with him a few times, and he's just a dude. He's just a down to earth guy.
Yeah.
But is he a character? He's funny as heck.
Oh, he's so funny. He's so funny.
I know.
It's funny because we were trying to get a contractor to come by to do some work. So my wife was working. She had no idea he was here. And she come home and I said, honey, come on downstairs. I says, I got a guy that's going to look at the work. And I said, I don't know if it's going to pan out though. You know, she comes down. She says, you got to be kidding me. You know, because she knew who he was. He goes, I'm not doing any work at your house. But no, he was great. He was really, really good. So.
Yeah, I was where was I? I was somewhere, and some lady said we were having dinner. There was a couple of us from Festool, and it was Tommy and Norm and a couple people. And some lady at the table, we were closing down the restaurant. It was about 11 o'clock at night here in Indiana. And she comes up and she goes, hey, are you the gentleman on this old house? Because my dad loves that. Could I get a picture? And he goes, sure. And as he gets up, he's taking a picture with Tom. She's taking a picture with Tommy. She goes, my dad loves you because you're the HVAC guy on this whole house. You know what Tommy says? He goes, oh, tell him I said hi. He doesn't care. He's just the funniest guy.
That's good. That's
but
good.
It was great. And, oh, he's funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
No, he really is. So it was like, it was just amazing. And it was just funny because so many people like, you know, had seen it on Facebook and just, you know, people I know that are contractors were just like, wow, like just crazy, you know. And then of course everybody, why didn't you tell me? I would have came by. It's like, that's why I didn't say anything, you know. I didn't want to mob up people at my house.
Yeah,
you know,
and
so
you don't want to. They're kind of a low key group of guys. They're so genuine, and they just love what they do, and it shows on television, right?
Yeah,
and that's the name of the game.
Yeah,
and I think that also transfers back to what you guys are doing on making fun, because when somebody comes up to me and says, "I saw that guy Derek." That guy is, and they go, that really looks like they're having fun doing it.
Yeah.
And it's fun to hear the kids in my neighborhood actually talking about it. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be a major hit.
Yeah, that's what's amazing is like the videos we're getting from people, like little kids, you know, just making stuff, making pictures. It's so touching. It really is. Like people really care, and it's so nice. It really is. It's really nice.
I'm glad you guys are really doing well doing that.
Yeah.
So in your life or in your trade, or, I mean, you mentioned a few things earlier, but who is your biggest influence that you think?
Well, it's funny. Growing up, the guy that I worked with, it's funny. I like I said, I started working with this guy when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I graduated high school. That summer, we had built a house up in New Hampshire. And he's like, I got great news. I says, what's that? He goes, I got a job as a school teacher. I'm like, what? Like, how are you going to be a school teacher and do this? He's like, I'm done. I always wanted to be a school teacher. He's like, follow your dreams, you know? Wow. I thought we were like partners, you know? And it's funny. I'm still friends with this guy to this day. He retired last year or the year before. He was a vice principal of a local school system and always wanted to be a teacher. And he really like influenced me to start making things. Jimmy really influenced me to like just make anything you wanted to, you know.
Yeah.
He really was like instrumental to be like, you just make whatever you want. Like, just, you know, you don't even have to know how to make it.
Yeah.
Like, that was always my thing. Like, people always like, how do you know how to make that? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I just saw somebody do it. I'm going to just do what they did, you know?
Yep. Huh.
Maybe it'll work, you know?
I even said on Shop Talk in my cabinet business, we'd walk out of a quote and my business partner would say, we know how to do that. I went, heck no. But we're going to learn and we're going to do it because that's what I don't want to. I get really caught up in the mundane myself. I'm not. I like to do unique things. And someone says, well, building a kitchen is really not unique. Yeah, it is, because you're not doing the same door. You're not doing the same layout. You're not doing the same install, you know?
Yeah.
So it kind of mixed it up for me to do that. Yeah. But building the boxes and ripping the plywood, that was the mundane. But I always like to push myself.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the name. I think it keeps it fresh.
Yeah, when we were doing the show, of course the production staff, they're like, we need a storyboard, we need this, we need this, we need this, and they're like, okay, how are you gonna build the dinosaur, Jimmy? He's like, I have no idea. They're like, we're starting it tomorrow. He's like, we'll start it tomorrow. Well, what are you gonna do? He goes, I don't know. He goes, just start filming. He goes, I have no idea. They're like, you have no idea, and this kept going on. Finally, I said, guys, listen, go watch like some of his videos, like. He just doesn't have a plan. Like, we're just going to do it. And we got burnt once, maybe twice, a couple things, a few little issues, but for the most part, he just did it. And he's like, and they finally got it after like the second episode. They're like, okay, we trust you, you know? But it was just funny, but that's how he does it. Like, he doesn't know what he's going to do. He just goes out and does it. And I always remember what stuck with me with, like, he moved big equipment. He would say, as long as we move it 1 inch in the correct direction, we'll be fine. And I'm like, that's true, right? You just, as long as you're heading in the right direction, you'll be fine. You'll get there. You know, it may take you longer or whatever, but, you know, and that's what he does. And it's just always been amazing. You know, I'm struggling on a little thing I'm doing right now because it's a little process I've never done before. And, you know, it turned out okay, but it's like, you know, figure it out, you know, just kind of work towards the process, you know, just work towards the goal.
The next one will be better, right? I always tell people.
Yeah, that's right. They're
I'll
never going to be perfect.
I'll experiment on your kitchen. We'll see how it works out. I never had a disappointed customer because I would always make it work.
Yeah.
You know?
You know?
It's the name of the game. Cool. So, I know how valuable your time is. You going to England next week?
Yeah. Next Wednesday, I think me and Jimmy fly out. He's coming to Boston. We're flying out of Boston. Kind of like a long weekend thing. Make a central over there. It's really a good time. It's funny. You know, you'd think every place is like this around the world, but you go there and, you know, they don't have a lot of maker events and stuff, and people come from all over to hang out, and it's just really, really nice, you know, and they're very, very grateful for people taking their time to come over there and stuff. And they're just such great people over there, you know, they just really appreciate it, you know, so it's cool. Cool. Yeah.
Way cool. Well, I wish you luck and safe travels with that. Hey, is there a question we didn't ask you that we should have asked you?
Is this my real beard?
What kind of grooming do you do?
Yeah. I get questions all the time. Could you recommend some product? It's like, I'm not the guy. Yeah, I'm not the guy. Don't use this stuff.
Too cool. Hey, do you have any questions for us?
No.
Okay, so I want to thank you for your time.
I want to thank you.
Oh my God, it has been a hoot. I knew when you walked across that lobby and introduced yourself, I knew you'd be a friend forever.
Yeah,
it was really nice to meet you down there. It's nice to hang out with you. I've hung out with you already over in Providence. A lot of time we'll be together. So I want to thank you so much, Derek.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. And everybody, that's a wrap. Thanks,
Beautiful.
brother.
Thank you.
You're awesome.